Today I'm bringing you, the worst political groups you shouldn't be a part of. Mostly because, well, with everything happening now today, I'm so excited to just dive in and try to cast another uproar here, bud. And sorry about my grammar. My grammar can be terrible at times, but hey, I try to make it worth your time here, okay? But my first group is the Republican Party, and I tried recording this and it didn't go so well, so I'm just going to try summing up. The three reasons why I have this group in for is first, sometimes they cause more damage than harm, and they go overboard with defending their own rights. And when I say overboard, they'll on purposely try to get caught by cops. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing. It's trying to find the corruption in our system. But here's the thing. The cops don't think, oh, this is someone trying to say they're doing nothing wrong. It even looks more sketchy that you're doing something wrong, but they get so confused in the matter of what are you doing there that you're videotaping, and I seen videos they're videotaping like a homeless home and all that. And here's the thing, if it would be going inside the homeless home windows, or whatever, that would be kind of more morally wrong in a way. That's taking away their privacy. But if it's outside the building, that's okay. But it just gets way overborne. Sometimes it's better just to leave it as it is. And they often lash out at people. And I know this a little bit too good. And for the most part, they do kind of lash out at people. I know I have my parents, and one of them is a dead-on Republican. He calls himself a Republican. He's on the Republican road, and he yells and all that. And here's the thing, I don't have a problem, but he tries to say he's right, you're wrong. And that's where I have wrongs with him. Okay? And yeah, that can be from first-hand experience. Experience can go from person to person, but that's what I'm facing. On to the next group, shall we? And let's check the time. Okay, 2 minutes, not bad. Next group is the Democratic. And I think I have these two emblems right. Tell me if I have them wrong. I just searched it up on Google, and yep, there we go. Let's download these and put them in order. And I put them in order from when I was searching them up. So please tell me if I have these in the wrong order. Then I'll probably make another video apologizing to that about Democrats and Republicans. So please let me take my time doing that. But anyways, they are not flexible enough politically. They would try to get their way with anything. And in a way, that can cause far more damage to the people than helping. Here's the thing. The Republicans, even though they might not look like they're flexible, when they get down to it, they'll admit when they're wrong. Okay? Some of them will. Some of them will be more stubborn than others. But they do not admit when they're wrong. And that's something I have a problem with the Democrats. And they don't try finding a common ground. And whenever there's a political party or someone to rival them, they try accusing them of all this, but then, did you ever do that? When that happens, they shut the hell up. So yeah, that's that group. And that's just one thing. And when they don't get shown respect, instead of showing their enemy or whatever respect, they think, oh, giving them no respect is better. And here's the thing. I'm like, that's partly me, but here's the thing. If someone is not giving you a shed of respect, it's usually about something you did. And I would still give them respect because then you do not look like the bad guy. And they do that. They do not show respect when they get disrespected. And there's reasons. Now people yell, like, think Democrats are corrupt. And that's something I would say. The Democrats, out of the Republicans and Democrats, they're corrupt as AF. Oh yes, the fine and corruption that's in their system. Like, people would say, oh, we're gonna, like, anyone running for president can make promises, but here's the thing. In truth, those promises are false. You heard me. They're false promises. They can promise all they want, but here's the thing. If both your party is unflexible to balance with the other parties, you have lost your original path. That's what the Democrats have lost in many regards. And it's just one of the sad things. Time any political group can succumb to corruptness in their own feelings. Like, they can say, oh, I'm against, like, something Trump has, why do more black people die in prisons than white? And we can talk about that forever, but they do not fix the problem. They make it even worse. And I'm just going to stop it right there because I can rain on Democrats and Republicans forever. But here's the thing. They're the 6th and 5th worst groups to join. And here's the thing. A lot of people join them, I think, because of peer pressure. But as that happens, the group becomes less organized. So that's another thing to add on to both of them. Why they're a horrible group. But here's the thing. If you respect their original goals, join them and try to purge of the rest of them and try to say these are the original goals we should strive for into making it a proper nation. But again, they want to argue far more than talk. Let's just say that much. And then let's go on to the fourth worst group. And this one I was thinking about doing third, but then, yeah, I found more dirt on, well, now what was the third one. So yeah, this one gets let go, and it's the Black Lives Matter movement. And here's the thing, originally I have no problems with this, but here's the thing, when you say Black Lives Matter, do just Black Lives Matter? It makes a question. And more you look at it and more you think about it, they're succumbing to the one thing they hate, racism. And it can be about white cops, but here's the thing. There's black cops that do the same thing to white people. Why do they not talk about that? Why do they not talk about the white guy dying by a cop? Like, there's many things that they do not talk about, and many people do not talk about because of that. And as a result, and this is the third one, like, no, that was two different reasons, they get their strings pulled by the Democrats by their false lying, basically. Because, face it, no president can promise what they're promising. Let's face the facts here. They can work together with all the parties in the world, but it will not work. Reason being, there's so many damn parties, they'll all alter that federal law to their own state, and it's like, hey, this is how now it's written. And then everyone will think it's stupid, and then no one cares. And in result, the Democrats pull their strings far more, and that's the drain of their corruption. They're getting controlled by a different group. And I forgot to switch it over, damn it. So sorry about that, everybody, if that pissed you off, if I relate that to Democrats a lot, but that's the truth. Everyone that's part of the Black Lives get their strings pulled by the Democrats. And here's the thing. When I say Republican and Democrat, here's the thing. I'm not talking about them two different people. I'm talking about them as a political group. Okay? to race that analogy. And Black Lives Matter needs a whole political group of its own that will cut all ties with the Democrats and start saying, no, you can't promise. You have to say that to your governors. You cannot promise that. We know it, but you should, like, there's many things that I think Black Lives, like, honestly, to me, all lives matter more than Black lives or white lives or whatever you want to call them. And here's the thing, this is another thing to put on that, it's in its own right racist. And most people don't understand that. Black Lives is a bigger and more racist group than a lot of other groups. And before I light another fire with my other 40 fires that I just recently lit, probably among my comments, and I'm going to leave my comments section free to talk about whatever you want because it's protected by the First Amendment. So talk about whatever you want. You can swear, but here's the thing: if you swear, I'm just gonna say, hey, can we keep it down to PG-13? Otherwise, YouTube would probably take down this whole video, and all my hard work, all my scripting, go to waste. But I bet half of you are going to do that anyways, so my bambling here is useless. And we're going to go to the third one that beat Black Lives Matter by a long shot. And I think actually everyone will agree on this one. So, PETA. They're the worst political group of all time. Yes. Actually, I won't say the worst political group of all time, but right now, they're pretty bad. They've been doing a lot of stuff that's been messed up. And one is, they'll try to accuse good owners of being a bad owner to their dog. Like, I've seen reports of this and all that, and they don't face truly any punishment for doing false things, and they'll put someone's dog in a dog shelter, and then they'll kill it because, well, sorry, it was unattainable. Yeah, no shit there, bud. It is not attainable because, when I say attainable, I mean tame, as in taming a dog, having a best friend by you all the times. Cats would say F off to you all the time, but dogs are the best. Doggos, literally doggos for everybody. And they'll lash out at meat departments for producing meat for people, and I'm like, okay, let's continue here. And as you get deeper into it, they'll try to, at some cases, release animals. And I actually found one case where they were at, I think, a chicken or duck place. And I'm not sure, I think it's somewhere in Australia. There we go. Or something like that. And it was a protest. And they put their necks on these locks. And, yeah, they almost killed all of them. Yes, they almost killed each other. For that stupid little thing. Protest. And then they started crying on, like, in the entrance, and that is, by all means, not a protest. That right there is kind of, well, you're destroying, probably, and desanitizing the meat department, so they have to waste probably an hour or two cleaning whatever you guys touched, and the dead animals they brought in there, they just lost money because of that, because, believe it or not, it costs quite a bit of money to raise animals. Like, to raise, like, when I say we, I mean, like, my little brother, he does most of the raising. Me, I do most of eating eggs. And honestly, I like eating eggs, but it's when I'm the only one eating eggs. But it gets to the point where there's too much to eat, and me, I actually gave away eggs, and during this time, it's like a saving grace for some families. Like, I don't think some members of PETA, I do understand, like, there should be a little bit more room for animals, but trying to let go and destroying a company in the process to get your point across, that's not protest. That's a terrorist act. And you can call me an animal protector or whatever, or animal hater or whatever, but that's something that is beyond repair. And I'm just going to move on, and this also concludes with the vegan group, because you're saying these groups are so identical, it's hard to not count them as the same group. I was tempted to put the feminists in there, but the feminists can actually be Republican and Democrat, or Black Lives Matter, any of these groups really. So I kind of put them in their own entity, and they're up next. Yes, you guessed it. Feminists. Feminism. Or feminists, or whatever you want to call it, but I put this actually as a thing for this group, and it's kind of sad. With time, corruption can take place. And that is true. Corruption can take place in time, but it takes a certain amount of work, and work doesn't always do it. But like, this group is starting to resemble what many groups got that originally were meant to be good, but turned out to be the worst thing. Like, we can probably talk about Nazi Germany. Like, they would probably be one of the worst groups, but if you look at it, break it down, it originally wasn't supposed to be like that. But it's just, when you got the wrong people in charge, they can take a movement and corrupt it. And that's the corruption roots. And this group is resembling, but not doing it, but they're taking the longer way. Each generation of feminists is going to get more corrupt. And one day, it's going to be like, why is there a feminist group? And that's what it is. And they get their strings pulled by the Democrats all the time. Like, that's another thing. Democrats control 3 of these groups without people knowing. It's hard to say, but they control a lot of different political groups. That's how they get so big. And honestly, I bet if any of these groups make their own political parties, they'll get the Republicans, Democrats run for their money. And who knows, that will put more political ideals into our government that would make us move forward instead of backwards. That's the problem the U.S. government has. Only having 2 political ideals. And are you a Republican or Democrat ideal? And I like how there's smaller groups coming up, but here's the thing. Some of them I actually do not believe in. Like, like the marijuana. Me, I'm like, I don't really care. Because here's the thing. If I were forced to take that, I met people that had that stuff, had tobacco, alcohol. They tell me, and when someone tells you not to drink or eat that or whatever, don't do it. Like, that's telling you they do not want it happening to you. That the mistake they did to come back haunt you in the future. And all these groups have that one thing in common. But the feminists, each generation, the first about 2 generations were actually real good. I would say that they were invoking the right to have equal pay, equal vote. Like, they should have a voting right. And honestly, that is true. But they're not letting them go. Like, and they also did a huge step by letting them join the military in many ways and joining the draft. in my regard as a male, that makes me feel happy because even though there's some women that do not want that, here's the thing: if you want equality, or want to be equal to your men counterparts, that's one step. And honestly, I think men should be more drafted towards the construction and, well, the infantry fields and tank fields and engineering, while the women take part in like the Air Force, Navy, and what is it, medical field training from the military in the draft. Anyways, that's how you could put both their abilities to the test. Like women, they can see more colors usually than men, and that's actually something I kind of envy and want for myself. But here's the thing: it's easy to learn how to find colors, and actually, I was originally colorblind, but after so much training of finding colors, I can tell some colors that I'm originally blind to. Now, apart from other colors. Yay. But the last group, I think everyone in the comments will agree. Tell me if you disagree, but they're the worst group of the bunch. They're the group that will ruin your life. And I present you, and this ain't their official banner logo or whatever, but it's the only one I can find that looks like what they would do, and that won't get me downvoted up in the YouTube ladder. So let's hear it for the NeoNazis. Yep. Reason why I'm using this one, it looks like the most friendly one, but it won't. It would probably do the least amount of damage to my channel, and my channel already being small, it's a good idea I'm doing it. And I don't need to worry about getting money for my YouTube channel because, well, I'm not getting any money in the first place, so there's something you guys have to look forward. And where to start? This group has so many different things. This can be its own video, for Pete's sake. But I have to choose 3 of the worst reasons why you should not join this group. And first is idiotic ideals. Yeah, their ideals are now will put us back. They won't take us forward. The only way it would take us forward is if they bring back slavery, we do human testing. But again, that's the only way I can see it benefiting at all. Human testing on vaccines and all that. And believe it or not, that's like the only way you can make this a good political group. Then it gets worse and worse and worse. And here's the thing: human testing is literally against human rights, I think. I think it is against human rights and against international law. So, yeah. It's one of the worst groups because of that. And also, they refuse to look at the past. And when I say refuse to look at the past, they refuse to acknowledge some of the worst things that have been in history, like the Holocaust. They refuse. They're a whole bunch of Holocaust deniers. And this group is actually the most corrupt. They're even more corrupt than the Democrats at this point. But their ideals are not something that we should even put into office. Even to have a chance to put in office. And we all know slavery does not go by the U.S. Constitution or the human rights. I'm not sure which number it was on the human rights, or on the Constitution, but I know it's on the Constitution. Human rights, slavery is outlawed, but face it, it happens still today, and that happens around the world. And I actually think it still happens in the U.S., but not as you might think. Like slavery can be of, hey, here's $5, but that's all you get this week. That is what slavery is now today. $5 for 1 week of work. And that's like attending work every day, with maybe one day off if they're lucky. And if they're extremely lucky, they'll get $100. And here's the thing, that might not seem like much to some people, but that can bring you and stretch your money to like 2 weeks. $5 can pay for a small amount of food for you or your family a little bit. It puts food on the table. And we can read books about that. Like it happened in Germany at one point, happened in the US. Let's face it. Child labor is far cheaper than, well, adult labor. Mostly because you can hire a dime a dozen, and if they die, you don't need to pay them. The older ones that are strong enough, you have to worry about revolting against you. So yeah. And so I don't know. If you at all agree with any of my views on these political parties, it would be pretty good of you to, well, give me a little thing saying, yeah, those are actually pretty good reasons or something. Because sometimes I wonder in my head, is this just me thinking of it? Or is it more than me? Is there multiple people thinking like this? And so, I hope that, well, you guys can appreciate this video. And if I offended people, I'm sorry for that. But this is what has to be said. If this virals, good for me. I can intentionally make money off this, but it's not something I'm intending to make money off of, though. It's something that I want you, the viewer, and I'm not going to say subscribe or like or comment or share. And if you guys at all think this is a unique view on all of these political parties in a bad way, go for it. Share it. Like it. Subscribe if you want more. But I'm probably going to do other videos like going in depth about the Republican and Democrat on how corrupt they are, but how not corrupt they are, what good things they bring to the table, because there's a lot of good things they bring to the table, but just as many bad things. Like every group has a bunch of skeletons in the closet or under the basement, you know. It's not just NeoNazis that have that, even though their ideals are more public, but than most other groups. But it's kind of the sad part. All these groups, but the neo-Nazis, they've been evil since the beginning of time. But feminists, the PETA, Black Lives Matter, Democrat, Republican, everyone's all, well, very good for this nation. But now it's starting to waver because of their own personal gains that each group faces now. Hopefully you, the viewer, can see the light and make the right choice about elections. And I think everyone can agree, no president can be righteous. No president can be, well, good. But hopefully you, the viewer, hopefully YouTube even shares this and puts in recommendeds for you guys to see. I'm more worried about you guys not seeing my videos about this type of subject that a lot of people want to ignore, but let's face it, we have to deal with this every day, and hopefully I can come out with another video about this type of subject. If not, sorry about it in advance, so see you later.